of our game development here. There are just a couple more things we need to do. One is to show the player that the game is over, and the other one is to give the opportunity to have another go. So to say the game is over, we'll need another text box. So if we go to the canvas here and then create another text box, we'll call this Game Over Box. I'm just choosing names that suit me. Of course you can choose names yourself. Right, so the text for this is going to be Game Over, of course, maybe with an exclamation mark. I'm going to make this big, say 80. Right, and we'll make it the same color as before. Now we can't see anything in there. The reason being, of course, that it's too big for the box we've got. So there are two solutions to this. One, we could make the box bigger to accommodate the text, or else we could say to the text, ignore the box. So we've got these horizontal and vertical overflows here. So by default it wraps it horizontally. So if you write a long piece of text, it'll wrap lines and not sort of go over the edge or miss out the beginning of words. So I'm going to tend to overflow that direction, and then vertical overflow, it truncates it, so it shortens the text to what can fit. Again, we can overflow that, and there it appears. Now it's centered, or it's top left aligned, so I wanted that centered horizontally and vertically. Okay, that looks good. In fact, it's so good I'm going to add some effects to it. So I'm going to add a component, and this is in the UI, and we've got an effects option there. Let's have a shadow. Now we can control the color of the shadow and where it's positioned. Now I want it to be a bit further over to the right and a bit further down. So we've got these X and Y distances here. You can just modify this figure by hovering over the X itself, and you get those two arrows side to side. Then just drag it. So I'm going to drag it till it looks about right, and then the Y, again, negative is down, so I want this further down, so I'll make it more negative, and that looks good to me. Right, so that's our Game Over box. Of course we don't want it appearing straight away, so let's go back to our text, and I'm going to put in another reference. Now it is a text box, but a text box is also a game object, so I'm going to put in game object text box. Sorry. Game Over box. Sorry, just got text boxes on my mind. Right, and at the beginning of this, I'm going to make it disappear. So I've got Game Over box, and then dot set active. Right, and then it wants a Boolean value, true or false. So I'm going to put false in here. Right, so this deactivates the Game Over box. Now what I have to do is when Game Over is true, I have to activate it. So set active true. Okay. Let's test that, make sure everything's alright. And it's fine. Now does it work? What we need to do is go to the game controller, and then we've got our new box here. And I'll take a reference from here. Oh. Sorry about that. Game controller, just a bit of lag here. drag that across. Okay, so again we're going to do a 10-second test of this. Right, so it's not there at the beginning, that's a good sign. Got an apple, well done me. And there it appears, and the game is over. Right, so how to give the player the opportunity to play again? Well, normally this is done using a button, and we do have buttons. So on the user interface, we've got a button. I'm just going to move that down a bit. Now we've got the button properties here. Right, so the normal colour, let's make it a nice shade of green. Okay, that's nice. And perhaps when we hover over it, it'll go to a brighter colour than that. So, not too dark. Okay. A more vivid green. And the pressed colour, well, we could have that. There's a sort of dusky red. Okay, now you notice that there's nothing about what's on the text box or what's on the button here, and that's because a button has got its own child, and that's the text. So if I select that, I'll change that to play again. Didn't need to do that. Right, so that's our button. But it doesn't do anything as yet. That's because we need to attach something to this on click, and we haven't got anything yet. So what I'm going to do is go back to this code here, and I'm going to add a new library. And there's a scene manager, scene management. Okay. So this handles loading and unloading of different scenes. And I'm going to put here another reference to this button as a game object. Call it replay button, and at the start I'm going to set this set active to false. So I'm handling it in just the same way as the game over box, and when the game is over we can put it back again. So it'll appear now at the end of the game, but it still won't do anything. So I'll need to add another function in here. And I'm going to make this a public function. Let's call it play. Again. Nothing in there. Sorry. Public void. Play again. And all this is going to do is tell the scene manager to load the scene, and it expects us, and our scene is called main. So in other words, just load up the same scene again. Test. Fine. Stop. Now what we need to do is get that button to run that particular function. This is why we made it public, because as I said before, if something is public, it's available from outside. So we go to the button properties here, and then we add to this list, and we choose the object. So let's click on here, and this is the game controller, and we look at the functions that are available here. Now in game control, which is our script, we've got play again, which is a public function. So these are all public functions, but this is the one that we want, play again. So now we're saying when you click the button, we want you to run this play again. Let's save all that and play another 10-second game. Just check 10 seconds here. We've still got that button there. Hold on, something's amiss. It's my usual thing. I haven't made reference to the button there, which I haven't renamed either. So I'm going to say replay button. Sorry, I'm rushing a bit here. So game controller, and we'll make a reference to that replay button here. Oh yes, when you're designing games, making mistakes is half the fun. So now, hopefully that button will not appear when we first start, and it's gone. That's great. Playing the game. 4 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and there's the button. And yes, it's turned to a darker green when I hover over it. Lovely. And if I play again, it sets the time left, and we've got another opportunity to play the game. Great, job done.